Ahead tonight, teachers are singled out for fingerprinting. Coming up, find out why.
Also ahead tonight, a man in court today pleads guilty. Find out the crime he says he committed.
And the tee-off for the LPGA season tees off today. The Bahamas tonight. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
The Bahamas Union of Teachers and Education Officials bucked heads today. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keish Latterly.
And I'm Andrew Knowles. Thanks so much for joining us. The two organizations are clashing over the common practice of vetting, which involves, in some cases, fingerprinting. The BUT is calling the practice imposed on expatriate teachers unlawful. However, education officials say otherwise.
Absolutely everyone, whether they're Bahamian or expatriate.
Vetting is a common requirement anywhere for those wishing to be employed as teachers. However, a new requirement of the vetting process for expatriate teachers isn't sitting well with the Bahamas Union of Teachers. In fact, the union expressed serious concern about expat teachers being fingerprinted, claiming that it is against the Employment Act. However, Education Director Lionel Sands told ZNS News that the fingerprinting isn't a requirement of the Department of Education, but rather the Royal Bahamas Police Force.
Imagine they're requiring that for teachers who are expatriate teachers, because that is one way they can confirm that the person who's requesting the vetting is the person indeed who is, the person who's seeking employment with us. And so I can't speak to that aspect of it. I have been told that the Employment Act prohibits that. But again, that is a matter that has to be taken up with the Commissioner of Police.
In a statement today, BUT President Belinda Wilson highlighted the concerns of expat teachers who she claims have been harassed, victimized, and discriminated against and had their jobs threatened. She also claimed that the principal of C.R. Walker reportedly transported all expat teachers to CDU to be fingerprinted. But Sands says that was only done after the teachers requested so.
The principal, being proactive, decided, look, if that is a challenge and you wish to be considered by the police for whatever it is that they need for the vetting, then we could arrange for all of you to go together, have it done one time, and then come back to school so that you wouldn't disrupt too much of the school time. Those persons who were transported to CRO are those persons who agreed to that, and they were not coerced or badgered into doing that by the principal.
Sands added that a number of previously hired expat teachers came with their fingerprint information, although it was not required at the time. And while he says it's not a new practice, it's a requirement they're enforcing now because of the times we live in.
It's a response to what happened in 2008 and subsequent years, where we had any number of teachers who've been charged and also been identified as teachers who imposing our children in a way that is not the standard way for teachers to be dealing with our children. And so as the ministry and the Department of Education, we have to be sure that the persons we engage are persons who are desirable to work with our children.
The Union of Central Bankers says it's about to up the ante in its dispute with the central bank over changes to their pension plan. Union President Melanie Munning says talks today at the Department of Labor didn't resolve anything. She adds that the union asked the bank to withdraw a letter outlining the changes it's proposed for the pension plan, but that the bank refused. Munning says it was impossible for the union to negotiate the terms of the proposal, which the bank indicated would come into effect December 31st, since the union only received the information it would need to make an informed decision on January 7th. Munning says if the bank doesn't change its position, the union will have to do, quote, whatever is necessary to change the thinking of the bank, end quote. She didn't specify the nature or timing of their next move, but did indicate they'll go back to the media on the issue. Now, Prime Minister Perry Christie has reaffirmed his support for the Bank of the Bahamas. Today, he said that as the government is the 65% majority shareholder of the Bank of the Bahamas, the government of the Bahamas reaffirms its robust support for the bank. The release from the Prime Minister went on to say that there need be no fear or concern on that score, and that the bank's capital position and other fundamentals remain strong. Moreover, the Prime Minister said that the government is satisfied that all necessary steps have already been taken and will continue to be taken to ensure that the bank remains in full compliance with all regulatory requirements and prudential banking standards. Police Staff Association members voted today for branch board members who will be selected for executive membership. Janaea Noel Ferguson visited the polls today as police cast their ballots.
A steady flow of officers turned up throughout the day, casting their vote for branch board members who will elect the association's new executive board. Team Progress and the Clean Slate team both presented a full complement of officers. Clean Slate candidate Sergeant Shane Hutchison says his mandate is to remove politics out of the equation.
To constantly be on a back and forth with our political directors and our political superiors. We ought to be in the best working environment, we ought to have the best conditions of service, and we ought to be provided with the best so that we can give you the best.
Incumbent executive member Ronnie Ferguson says he's confident that his team's track record of success will carry over this year.
The platform for Team Progress is clear and simple. We're going to go out there and fight for the welfare issues of the officers. We know there's a lot of issues out there that needs to be addressed as it relates to equipment, uniforms, salary increases, and the likes.
Meanwhile, independent candidate Constable Nicholas Hyler hopes to make the association relevant with the changing times.
It's a difficult task for one person to be able to have to undertake in dealing with all of the membership. So if it's done on the computer, someone would be able to apply. They have a limit, and so it would seem fair, at least across the board. So.
And Officer Frankie Edmond is also hoping to secure an executive post. He says he's more concerned about the upgrading of laws that govern officers.
Changing our policies for better running, a more modern and efficient police force, not just in cars, radio set communications, but in the welfare. That's what the association stands for.
Now, officers also voted at police headquarters and the Kendall Isaacs gym. It's there that one candidate expressed her concern over today's process and some of the images about the elections that were being posted on social media.
They are really running a very dirty campaign. If your hands are clean, then it's no need to fear.
Those comments, she said, stem from recent allegations made against former chairman Dwight Smith, who is facing charges of indecent assault against a female. His name still appeared on Monday's ballot, but sources tell our ZNS News that if he is reelected, the membership will have to decide their next move, as this is the first time they've been presented with a matter like this one. Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
A Washington tears over the disappearance of her 16-year-old daughter. A visibly upset Starita Miller says she simply wants her safe return. Alexis Sands, a 12th grade student at CV Bethel Senior High School, has not been seen or heard from by her family since she left for school last Monday. Although the student was active on social media, her siblings say there has been no activity on her Facebook page. Miller says that when her daughter left for school a week ago, she was in high spirits. The 16-year-old was excited about her father's birthday that passed yesterday and was planning on baking him a cake. The family is now struggling to deal with her disappearance.
Really, I would pray that no mother or parent have to experience where you don't know where your child is or if they're okay, because there's no word to describe what you're going through right now, because you can't put it together what it feels like, but in the midst of it, you're strong enough to believe that God, that it's okay, and she returned home soon. But there's no word that you could use to describe it, what it does.
Miller says the teen's disappearance is out of character. While several friends confirmed that Alexis attended school on the day of her disappearance, Miller says none have been in contact with her since. The concerned mother is now hoping for a happy resolution and that no harm would have befallen her daughter. Anyone who would have seen Alexis is asked to contact Miller at 676-9544 or police.
If anyone's seen her or know where she is, or if she able to have, I just want to know that I love her and I miss her and I really wanted to come home. I just want to know that she's okay and that we miss her and we really, really love her and we want her to come home, please.
Police are also asking for your help in finding a missing 21-year-old man. He is West Street and Hospital Lane resident Alberton Bevins. He was reported missing by relatives last week, Wednesday, when he was last seen. He is 5 feet 5 inches, weighing about 140 pounds. Police are appealing to anyone with information regarding the whereabouts of Alberton Bevins, no matter how small or insignificant the tip may seem, to anonymously call police at 919 or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS or 1-242-300-8476 in the Family Islands.
Closing submissions took place today in the Nevin Curry murder trial, with both sides taking advantage of their final opportunities to sway the jury. Curry is accused of killing Stanley McIntosh in Abaco back in February of 2012. Our Fern Carey has more.
In his closing address to jurors, Nevin Curry's attorney, Murray DeSeal, stressed that Curry did not kill the deceased, Stanley McIntosh. Instead, he said prosecution witnesses lied on Curry when they said they saw him shoot McIntosh. And despite testimony by those witnesses indicating that they heard a single gunshot being fired on the day McIntosh was killed, DeSeal said evidence in the case reveals that at least 2 guns were fired as 2 different caliber bullets were found at the crime scene. However, prosecutor Ambrose Ambrister contended that Curry did indeed murder McIntosh. He told jurors that on that fateful day, McIntosh was at a club in Marsh Harbor, Abaco, when he, quote, collided with another man. That resulted in a verbal altercation, then a fight taking place between the two, and seconds later, Ambrister said McIntosh ended up on the floor after his friends came to break up the fight. As McIntosh tried to get up off the floor, Ambrister said Curry, who was about 4 feet away from McIntosh, pulled out a gun and shot him, then fled the scene. Now all that's left is for the judge to sum up the case and direct the jury on the law. After that, Curry's fate will be in the hands of the jury. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
20-year-old Marshall Road resident Alexander Pierre decided to take a plea deal at the start of his murder trial today and pleaded guilty to killing 29-year-old Ramon Thompson back in 2012. Police say Thompson was shot to death on East Street and Coconut Grove Avenue after an altercation with Pierre. Pierre decided to take the plea deal after consulting with his attorney and a Crown prosecutor. Justice Carolina Bethel will sentence him on April 5th. The prosecution opened its case today in the Kendrick Sands murder trial as well. 33-year-old Sands is accused of killing 20-year-old Kiftino Davis back on Sunday, June 27th of 2010. In his opening address, Crown Prosecutor David Cox told jurors they will hear testimony from a number of witnesses, including a close friend of the deceased, Michael Johnson. He said they'll hear that Davis was at a nightclub when Sands fired several shots, hitting Davis about the body as he ran for his life. Now, Justice Bernard Turner is presiding over the case. Dorsey McPhee and Damian White make up the defense.
In our first look at weather, we have a front boundary that's stationary across the southeast Bahamas, and that will fire up 1 or 2 showers there. And then there's a second front system that's heading into the northwest Bahamas, should get in there early Wednesday morning. But outside of our studios just now, we have near clear skies, temperatures 70 degrees, relative humidity 53%. We have calm winds, barometric pressure 1,019.4 millibars, that's 30.10 inches, and it is rising. But stay tuned, temperatures around the Family Islands, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Well, still ahead tonight, how close is COB to finding a new president? We've got the latest.
And in sports, high schoolers enjoy the game of golf. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight.
This
This portion of the news is brought to you by Lux Men's Warehouse.